It's an emotive issue across rural Australia, cashed-up foreigners buying land and speeding the demise of the family farm. In the latest example, China's biggest state-owned agricultural conglomerate has for the first time invested in the Australian market, buying up vast tracts of farmland in Western Australia, as well as port facilities to ship its grain out of the country. There's no doubt foreign capital helps boost economic growth, but it's also breeding resentment, as Bronwyn Herbert reports.
Yeah, Harold. G'day mate, it's Will. Good. Really good, thanks. Look, just want to go over that asset register for our eastern property.
Will Crozier has a lot on his mind. The former farmer from Geelong is now an international deal maker in agriculture.
Yeah, fantastic. 10 mils overnight.
And the purchase of this farm, 4 hours south of Perth, is one of the biggest he's negotiated. It's part of a $150 million investment by China's largest agricultural company.
The vision is massive, the development is massive so far, and it's only a start.
Beta Huang lays claim to being the world's biggest farming operation. It already grows more than 70 million tonnes of grain globally, has a permanent workforce of 300,000 people and operates in more than 30 countries. But the purchase of more than 40,000 hectares of farmland in WA South is the company's first foray into Australian agriculture, and this is its first crop.
Beta Huang farm all over the world. They're the biggest farming operation in the world. I think it's 70 million tonnes of grain annually that they crop. This is the first time that they've been introduced to Australia, Australian techniques, Australian technology and Australian climate.
Beta Huang, through its new Australian subsidiary, Heilongjiang Feng Agriculture, hasn't just bought the farm. It's also purchased port facilities at nearby Albany to vertically integrate its operations. This creates its own paddock-to-plate supply chain from WA to northern China.
They're going to be shipping the grain out of Albany. Are they going to be bringing in empty ships, or are they going to be filling them with their own machinery, their own fertiliser, their own chemical?
Mary Nenke and her family are fourth-generation wheat farmers in southern WA who've also diversified into yabby farming.
These are business people. They're not there for our good, they're there for their good. In our patch, there are people paying up to 17% interest. These people will be, it'll be Chinese money. What interest rates will they be paying? When you can't compete in your own country, what next?
There is nothing to be afraid about. This is simply a new stream of capital coming into rural Australia.
The Beta Huang deal, like the Ord River expansion signed last year with a private Chinese firm, are exactly what the WA Premier Colin Barnett and his ministry are promoting.
I believe that that investment, employs people, employs jobs. It has regional development because they're not city-centric. They're out in the country, so regional areas thrive with that capital invested in there. And of course, what we're actually doing is we're supplying the food chain of the world.
Bill Heffernan leads the Senate Rural and Regional Affairs Committee, which has been investigating whether purchases like these are in the national interest.
It would be a great pity if Australia's farmers ended up as tenants and tenant farmers, and unlike the prospect of capital growth to hand on to the family, only had the job to hand on, and I guess there's a warning there.
At last count, around 11% of the nation's farmland was in foreign hands. But Bill Heffernan says no one really knows what the exact figure is, which is why it's crucial a foreign land registry is set up.
We need to do that. Then we need to model that out for 20 or 30 years, given the present law and the present practices, and then say to ourselves, is that where we want to be in 20 or 30 years as a nation? Because it's my view that under the present arrangements, we are redefining sovereignty.
The thing is, they're saying it's good for us. Would it be good if all our suburbs of the city were owned by China and then we were renting back the houses from China. That's exactly what it is. They're suggesting, and banks are suggesting this, that it'd be better for farmers to sell their land and then rent it back.
For Will Crozier, it's the way of the future.
We're looking at substantial gains and we're looking at substantial markets coming in here. It's a great thing for Australia. I'm very, very proud to be a part of it.
Bronwyn Herbert reporting.